So welcome back everybody from PoolieMagTV, the raw, unedited, unscripted NUFC fan channel where everybody's got an opinion, but nobody's opinion's wrong. So today I thought I'd bring you a bit of a different background. I'm on the Buster graft, and I swore I would never do another Alexander Isak video, but here we are again, another Alexander Isak video. So I think it was Tuesday night, Alexander Isak released a statement. Now, we don't know if it's Alexander Isak or if it's his agent who's released this statement, but you know, it's not a good look for him, is it? It's not a good look for him at all. You know, he's thanked his players, his teammates, which is really good, but other than that, the statement leaves a lot to be desired. You know, he hasn't thanked the fans who cheer his name, who buy his shirts, who help pay his wages, you know, which is a rat move for me, because the fans are the most important thing. Yes, his teammates have helped them and helped them grow. You know, I don't think there was much of a mention of Eddie Howe on there either, who clearly has helped him grow. You know, and then he whinged and moaned in the second half of the statement by going on about, you know, broken promises and things like that. You know, and it's just not a good look for him, you know. And I wonder where his head's at. He's trying to force this move to Liverpool, isn't he? He's trying to force a move to Liverpool, you know, and he's went about it the whole wrong way. You know, if he'd have just handed in a transfer request at the end of the season and said, look, I want to leave, I've got used Carabao Cup, I've got used Champions League, you know, I feel like I'm worth a bigger contract and I want to explore new challenges, then that's fine. But to say that we knew about this for a long time is an absolute joke. We haven't knew about this for a long time, because we all thought he was happy, and I'm sure Eddie Howe thought he was happy, and I'm sure the club thought he was happy. So for him to come out now and say that, you know, the club's broken promises and we've known for ages that he wants to go, I think it's a load of rubbish. You know, he could have done this the right way. He could have explained his stance at the beginning of the season, given ample time to find a replacement, and he could have, you know, made himself available to train. He could have said, look, I'm still going to be here whilst I'm here, but if a big comes in for me, I would like to leave, which is fair enough, you know. But he hasn't. He's down tools like a spoiled child, you know, and it just doesn't sit well with me, that type of behaviour. So the club have now responded. Well, the club have responded by basically saying, you know, look, Alex, you're full of shit, mate. You know, we haven't promised you nothing. You know, our stance has always remained the same. We didn't know anything about you wanting to leave. You know, we haven't got a reasonable offer that we are willing to accept, and we are, you know, and that doesn't seem to look like it's going to change anytime soon. And we still see you as part of our family. You know, I thought it was a really classy but strong response from Newcastle United. I really did. I thought it was a classy but strong response, and I thought it's basically put Isak in its place there, you know, by saying, you know, look, you've got to sign a 6-year contract, there's no release clause, you're on 120 grand, you know, we can offer you a new contract, you don't want to sign a new contract with us, you've stabbed us in the back. You know, Liverpool have went about things the complete wrong way too, and it's, you know, this is on you, son, now. You know, you might not get your move to Liverpool, and now you're stuck at a club that you don't want to be at. Well, then that's your fault, isn't it? You know, and I just think Alexander Isak has just ruined his career. For me, he's ruined his Newcastle career. He could have left on a high note, you know, he could have really left on a high note at Newcastle. You know, the fans would have still loved him, you know, whether he went to Liverpool or not, we would have forgiven him for wanting to try, you know, bigger and better things. But, you know, for me, he's just absolutely sullied his, you know, his own reputation now. And if I was a Liverpool player or a Liverpool fan or whatever, or the Liverpool manager, I'd be thinking, well, is he going to do this to us in a couple of seasons? Are we going to get him to even a higher height? And then if Barcelona and Real Madrid comes, he's going to down tools for us. You know, that's what I'd be thinking. You know, I really would. You know, Alexander Isak's a quality football player, but this petulance is, you know, it's unwarranted. Newcastle as a club have looked after him. We've chanted his name. You know, we've we've been there for him. We've done everything we can for him to make him feel part of this family, and he's went and done this to us. So, you know, I just don't get his behaviour. I don't get Liverpool's behaviour, and I really hope we stick it to them at the weekend. I really do, because they've shafted us, haven't they? They've turned his head, and the agents and everybody else is involved. You know, the agent has a lot to say about this. He has a lot to answer for. You know, there's a lot. Agents have too much power for me in football these days, and it's just, you know, it's just not right. I do apologise for the shaking on the video. Bear with me. I am on a bus, you know, so I just wanted to get this out here because it's on my mind. And you know, Alexander Isak's the hot topic, and unfortunately I'm having to make another Alexander Isak video today, which is not what I really want to be doing, especially at fucking 20 to 7 in the morning or whenever it is. But you know, I'm fresh. I want to talk about it. It's fresh off the news. You know, it happened a couple of days ago. You know, it happened a couple of days ago, and it took a time for me to digest it. It took a time for me to find some time to bring this video to use. And I just want your opinions. What the hell is going on? Who's going to win out of this? You know, I think it's a lose-lose situation. I think Alexander Isak loses at least half a season of his career if he stays with us. And then the other half, he's going to try and he probably's not going to play his best, you know, and we've, you know, lost our talisman, you know. So I think it's a lose-lose situation. I think the best thing to resolve it is for Alexander Isak to come out publicly, apologise, and just knuckle down and, you know, try and play this season, because it doesn't look like we're going to sell him. My option would be to sell him and just get rid of him, but we need to find a replacement first, don't we? And if we don't find a suitable replacement, then he's going to stay. But it's a lose-lose situation. I don't think anybody wins out of this. You know, the only team that wins out of this is Liverpool come Monday, because, you know, he won't be in the starting 11, and they've got Isak and NUFC. You know, I just don't know where they're coming from. Why get NUFC? Why didn't they let us get NUFC? And they probably could have got Isak. Did they even want Isak, or were they just wanting unsettled players like they did Anthony Gordon? Probably is the latter, because it's just the way that club works. You know, they look to play the victim, but yet they're quite the bully. You know, which is Liverpool all over. They're a bully club, but they like to play the victim. You know, and that's what they've done here. And Alexander Isak's fell for it up line and sinker, hasn't he? You know, and he's now sullied his reputation at Newcastle United. It's going to take him a long time to even start for us again. You know, so he's wasted probably the season of his career. You know, Newcastle are now having to scramble around and claw around to get a striker, you know, to replace him, because Willisula can't play front on his own. You know, so it is what it is. I just wanted your opinions. I do apologise for the bumpiness and the camera shaking on this. I am on a bus, but you know, I just thought I'd bring this video up to everybody. So I want everybody's opinions on this. What's your opinions? You know, is Alexander Isak in the right, and Newcastle United in the right? You know, you've got pundits like Jamie Warner coming out, you know, saying that we owe the ransom. But it's clearly not the case, is it? It's clearly not the case at all. We're not holding anybody to ransom. Alexander Isak has went about this the wrong way, but obviously Jamie Warner is a tit, and you know, he's part of that top 6 elitism. He's just a shock jock on Talk Sport, so I don't pay too much attention to him. You know, I've got video about him and Jason Cuddy anyway in my backlog if you want to watch that. But yeah, so I just wanted everybody's thoughts and opinions on this, because, you know, it's starting to do my head in, and I just want the transfer window to be over, if I'm honest. Anyway, hit like, hit subscribe, you know, and share the channel, help it grow. You know, there'll be better video quality in the next video, but I just wanted to bring this out whilst I had some time. I've been really busy, and this is probably the only bit of free time that I've got. So anyway, I apologise for the video quality, the shaking in the background, but I am on a bus to work, and I just thought I'd bring this video to you anyway. So hit like, hit subscribe, share the channel, keep it black and white, and keep it PoolieMagTV over and out, folks.